In 2009-10, FC Barcelona started the new season with the prospect of winning 6 major competitions in the 2008-2009 season. They contested for the Supercopa de España, UEFA Super Cup, FIFA Club World Cup, Copa del Rey, La Liga, and the UEFA Champions League. During the summer transfer window, the club swapped their top league goal scorer during the treble season, Samuel Eto'o, to Italy's Inter Milan in exchange for Zlatan Ibrahimovic, along with €48 million, bringing the total to €69 million. On May 16, Barcelona claimed its 20th league title with a then-record 99 points viaduct a 4-0 victory over relegated side Valladolid to finish their 2009-10 season with 4 titles. History: 1899–1922, beginnings. On October 22, 1899, Swiss Hans Gamper placed an advertisement in Los Deportes declaring his wish to form a football club. A positive response resulted in a meeting at the Gimnasio Sol on November 29. 11 players attended: Walter Wild, Luis de Oso, Bartomeu Terradas, Otto Kunzel, Otto Mayer, Enric Ducal, Per Cabot, Carles Pujol, Josep Labet, John Parsons, and William Parsons, and Football Club Barcelona was born. FC Barcelona had a successful start in regional and national cups, competing in the Campionat de Catalunya and the Copa del Rey. In 1901, the club participated in the very first football competition played on the Iberian Peninsula, the Copa Mackaya, narrowly losing to Hispania AC, but in the following year, Barca won the tournament, the club's first ever piece of silverware, and then participated in the first Copa del Rey, losing 1-2 to Biscaya in the final. In 1908, Hans Gamper, now known as Joan Gamper, became club president in a desperate attempt to save Barcelona from extinction, finding the club struggling not just on the pitch, but also financially and socially, after not winning a competition since the Campionat de Catalunya in 1905. He said in a meeting, "Barcelona cannot die and must not die. If there is nobody who is going to try, then I will assume the responsibility of running the club from now on." Club president on 5 separate occasions between 1908 and 1925, he spent 25 years in total at the helm. One of his main achievements was ensuring Barca acquire its own stadium and thus generate a stable income. On March 14, 1909, the team moved into the Camp de la Industria, a stadium with a capacity of 8,000. To celebrate their new surroundings, the club conducted a logo contest the following year. Carles Comamela won the contest, and his suggestion became the crest that the club still wears with some minor changes as of the present day. The stadium is regarded as the main element that helped the club grow in the 1910s and become a dominant team, winning 3 successive Campionats de Catalunya between 1909 and 1911, 3 Copa del Rey in 4 years between 1910 and 1913, and 4 successive Pyrenees Cup between the inaugural year in 1910 and 1913, which was one of the earliest international club cups in Europe, since it consisted of the best teams of Languedoc, Midi and Aquitaine, the Basque Country and Catalonia. All were former members of the Marca Hispanica region. The contest was the most prestigious in that era. Notable figures of Barca's first great team include Carles Comamela, Alfredo Massana, Amicajara, Paco Bru, and Jack Greenwell. The latter became the club's first full-time coach in 1917. During the same period, the club changed its official language from Castilian to Catalan and gradually evolved into an important symbol of Catalan identity. For many fans, participating in the club had less to do with the game itself and more with being a part of the club's collective identity. On February 4, 1917, the club held its first tribute match to honor Ramon Torralba, who played from 1913 to 1928. The match was against local side Terrassa, where Barcelona won the match 6-2. Gamper simultaneously launched a campaign to recruit more club members, and by 1922, the club had more than 20,000, who helped finance a new stadium. The club then moved to the new Les Cortes, which they inaugurated the same year. Les Cortes had an initial capacity of 30,000, and in the 1940s it was expanded to 60,000. In 1912, Gamper recruited Paulino Alcantara, the club's seventh all-time top scorer, and in 1917, Gamper also recruited Jack Greenwell as the first full-time manager in Barcelona's history. After this hiring, the club's fortunes began to improve on the field and soon enjoyed its first golden age. Along with Alcantara, the Barca team under Greenwell also included Segui Barba, Ricardo Zamora, Josep Samitier, Felix Sijamaga, and Franz Platko. This team won 9 out of 10 Campionats de Catalunya between 1919 and 1928 and 2 Copa del Rey titles in 1920 and 1922. In total, during the Gamper-led era, Barcelona won 11 Campionats de Catalunya, 6 Copa del Rey and 4 Pyrenees Cups. 1923–1957, Rivera, Republic, and Civil War. On June 14, 1925, in a spontaneous reaction against Primo de Rivera's dictatorship, the crowd in the stadium jeered the Royal March. As a reprisal, the ground was closed for 6 months and Gamper was forced to relinquish the presidency of the club. This coincided with the transition to professional football, and, in 1926, the directors of Barcelona publicly claimed, for the first time, to operate a professional football club. On July 3, 1927, the club held a second testimonial match for Paulino Alcantara, against the Spanish national team. To kick off the match, local journalist and pilot Josep Canidas dropped the ball onto the pitch from his aeroplane. In 1928, victory in the Spanish Cup was celebrated with a poem titled Ode a Platko, which was written by a member of the Generation of 27, Rafael Alberti, inspired by the heroic performance of the Barcelona goalkeeper, Franz Platko. On June 23, 1929, Barcelona won the inaugural Spanish League. A year after winning the championship, on July 30, 1930, Gamper committed suicide after a period of depression brought on by personal and financial problems. Although they continued to have players of the standing of Josep Escola, the club now entered a period of decline, in which political conflict overshadowed sports throughout society. Attendance at matches dropped as the citizens of Barcelona were occupied with discussing political matters. Although the team won the Campionat de Catalunya in 1930, 1931, 1932, 1934, 1936 and 1938, success at a national level evaded them. A month after the Spanish Civil War began in 1936, several players from Barcelona enlisted in the ranks of those who fought against the military uprising, along with players from Athletic Bilbao. On August 6, Falangist soldiers near Guadarrama murdered club president Josep Suniol, a representative of the pro-independence political party. He was dubbed the Martyr of Barcelonisme, and his murder was a defining moment in the history of FC Barcelona and Catalan identity. In the summer of 1937, the squad was on tour in Mexico and the United States, where it was received as an ambassador of the Second Spanish Republic. The tour led to the financial security of the club, but also resulted in half of the team seeking asylum in Mexico and France, making it harder for the remaining team to contest for trophies. On March 16, 1938, Barcelona came under aerial bombardment from the Italian Air Force, causing more than 3,000 deaths, with one of the bombs hitting the club's offices. A few months later, Catalonia came under occupation, and as a symbol of the undisciplined Catalanism, the club, now down to just 3,486 members, faced a number of restrictions. All signs of regional nationalism, including language, flag, and other signs of separatism, were banned throughout Spain. The Catalan flag was banned and the club were prohibited from using non-Spanish names. These measures forced the club to change its name to Club de Futbol Barcelona and to remove the Catalan flag from its crest. In 1943, Barcelona faced rivals Real Madrid in the semi-finals of Copa del Generalissimo. The first match at Les Corts was won by Barcelona 3-0. Real Madrid comfortably won the second leg, beating Barcelona 11-1. According to football writer Sid Lowe, there have been relatively few mentions of the game and it is not a result that has been particularly celebrated in Madrid. Indeed, the 11-1 occupies a far more prominent place in Barcelona's history. This was the game that first formed the identification of Madrid as the team of the dictatorship and Barcelona as its victims. It has been alleged by local journalist Paco Aguilar that Barcelona's players were threatened by police in the changing room, though nothing was ever proven. Despite the difficult political situation, CF Barcelona enjoyed considerable success during the 1940s and 1950s. In 1945, with Josep Samitier as coach and players like César, Ramolets, and Velasco, they won La Liga for the first time since 1929. They added 2 more titles in 1948 and 1949. In 1949, they also won the first Copa Latina. In June 1950, Barcelona signed Laszlo Kubala, who was to be an important figure at the club. On a rainy Sunday of 1951, the crowd left Les Corts Stadium after a 2-1 win against Santander by foot, refusing to catch any trams, and surprising the Francoist authorities. The reason was simple: at the same time, a tram strike was taking place in Barcelona, receiving the support of Blaugrana fans. Events like this made CF Barcelona represent much more than just Catalonia, and many progressive Spaniards saw the club as a staunch defender of rights and freedoms. Coach Ferdinand Doc and Laszlo Kubala led the team to 5 different trophies, including La Liga, the Copa del Generalissimo, the Copa Latina, the Copa Eva Duarte, and the Copa Martini Rossi in 1952. In 1953, the club won La Liga and the Copa del Generalissimo again. 1957–1978, Club de Futbol Barcelona. With Helenio Herrera as coach, a young Luis Suarez, the European Footballer of the Year in 1960, and 2 influential Hungarians recommended by Kubala, Sandor Kocsis and Zoltán Csibor, the team won another national double in 1959 and a La Liga and Fairs Cup double in 1960. In 1961, they became the first club to beat Real Madrid in a European Cup playoff. However, they lost 2-3 to Benfica in the final. The 1960s were less successful for the club, with Real Madrid monopolizing La Liga. The completion of the Camp Nou, finished in 1957, meant the club had little money to spend on new players. The 1960s saw the emergence of Josep Maria Fust and Carles Rexach, and the club won the Copa del Generalissimo in 1963 and the Fairs Cup in 1966. Barcelona restored some pride by beating Real Madrid 1-0 in the 1968 Copa del Generalissimo final at the Santiago Bernabéu in front of Francisco Franco, with coach Salvador Artigas, a former Republican pilot in the Civil War. With the end of Franco's dictatorship in 1974, the club changed its official name back to Futbol Club Barcelona and reverted the crest to its original design, including the original letters once again. The 1973-74 season saw the arrival of Johan Cruyff, who was bought for a world record £920,000 from Ajax. Already an established player with Ajax, Cruyff quickly won over the Barcelona fans when he told the European press that he chose Barcelona over Real Madrid because he could not play for a club associated with Francisco Franco. He further endeared himself when he named his son Jordi, after the local Catalan Saint George. Next to champions like Juan Manuel Asensi, Carles Rexach, and Hugo Sodile, he helped the club win the 1973-74 season for the first time since 1960, defeating Real Madrid 5-0 at the Santiago Bernabéu en route. He was crowned European Footballer of the Year in 1973 during his first season with Barcelona. Cruyff received this prestigious award a third time in 1974, while he was still with Barcelona. 1978-2000, Núñez and stabilization. In 1978, Josep Luis Núñez became the first elected president of FC Barcelona, and, since then, the members of Barcelona have elected the club president. The process of electing a president of FC Barcelona was closely tied to Spain's transition to democracy in 1974 and the end of Franco's dictatorship. The new president's main objective was to develop Barcelona into a world-class club by giving it stability both on and off the pitch. His presidency was to last for 22 years, and it deeply affected the image of Barcelona, as Núñez held to a strict policy regarding wages and discipline, letting go of such players as Diego Maradona, Romario, and Ronaldo rather than meeting their demands. On May 16, 1979, the club won its first European Cup Winners' Cup by beating Fortuna Düsseldorf 4-3 in Basel in a final watched by more than 30,000 traveling Blaugrana fans. The same year, Núñez began to invest in the club's youth program by converting La Masia into a dormitory for young academy players from abroad. The name of the dormitory would later become synonymous with the youth program of Barcelona. In June 1982, Diego Maradona was signed for a world record fee of £5 million from Boca Juniors. In the following season, under coach Cesar Luis Menotti, Barcelona won the Copa del Rey, beating Real Madrid. Maradona's time with Barcelona, however, was short-lived and he soon left for Napoli. At the start of the 1984-85 season, Terry Venables was hired as manager and he won La Liga with noteworthy displays by German midfielder Bernd Schuster. The next season, he took the team to their second European Cup final, only to lose on penalties to Steaua Bucuresti during a dramatic evening in Seville. Around this time, tensions began to arise between what was perceived as President Núñez's dictatorial rule and the nationalistic support group, Boixos Noise. The group, identified with a left-wing separatism, repeatedly demanded the resignation of Núñez and openly defied him through chants and banners at matches. At the same time, Barcelona experienced an eruption in skinheads, who often identified with a right-wing separatism. The skinheads slowly transferred the Boixos Noise ideology from liberalism to fascism, which caused division within the group and a sudden support for Núñez's presidency. Inspired by British hooligans, the remaining Boixos Noise became violent, causing havoc leading to large-scale arrests. After the 1986 FIFA World Cup, Barcelona signed the English top scorer Gary Lineker, along with goalkeeper Andoni Zubizarreta, but the team could not achieve success, as Schuster was excluded from the team. Terry Venables was subsequently fired at the beginning of the 1987-88 season and replaced with Luis Aragonés. The season finished with the players rebelling against President Núñez, in an event known as the Hesperia Mutiny, and a 1-0 victory in the Copa del Rey final against Real Sociedad. The I Dream Team / I Era. None. 2000-2008, exit Núñez, enter Laporta. The departures of Núñez and Van Gaal were hardly noticed by the fans when compared to that of Luis Figo, then club vice-captain. Figo had become a cult hero and was considered by Catalans to be one of their own. Barcelona fans, however, were distraught by Figo's decision to join arch-rivals Real Madrid, and, during subsequent visits to the Camp Nou, Figo was given an extremely hostile reception. Upon his first return, a piglet's head and a full bottle of whiskey were thrown at him from the crowd. The next 3 years saw the club in decline, and managers came and went. Van Gaal was replaced by Lorenzo Serra-Ferrer who, despite an extensive investment in players in the summer of 2000, presided over a mediocre league campaign and a first-round Champions League exit, and was dismissed late in the season. Long-serving Barcelona deputy coach Carles Rexach was appointed as his replacement, initially on a temporary basis, and managed to at least steer the club to the last Champions League spot on the final day of the season against Valencia via an exceptional performance from Rivaldo, who completed arguably the greatest hat-trick in history with an overhead bicycle kick winner in the final minute to secure qualification. Despite better form in La Liga and a good run to the semi-finals of the Champions League, Rexach was never viewed as a long-term solution, and that summer Van Gaal returned to the club for a second spell as manager. What followed, despite another decent Champions League performance, was one of the worst La Liga campaigns in the club's history, with the team as low as 15th in February 2003. This led to Van Gaal's resignation and replacement for the rest of the campaign by Radimir Antic, though a 6th-place finish was the best that he could manage. At the end of the season, Antic's short-term contract was not renewed, and club president Joan Gaspart resigned, his position having been made completely untenable by such a disastrous season on top of the club's overall decline in fortunes since he became president 3 years prior. After the disappointment of the Gaspart era, the combination of a new young president, Joan Laporta, and a young new manager, former Dutch and AC Milan star Frank Rijkaard, saw the club bounce back. On the field, an influx of international players, including Ronaldinho, Deco, Henrik Larsson, Ludovic Giuli, Samuel Eto'o, Rafael Marquez and Edgar Davids, combined with homegrown Spanish players, such as Carles Puyol, Andres Iniesta, Xavi, and Victor Valdés, led to the club's return to success. Barcelona won La Liga and the Supercopa de España in 2004-05, and Ronaldinho and Eto'o were voted first and third, respectively, in the FIFA World Player of the Year awards. In the 2005-06 season, Barcelona repeated their league and Supercopa successes. The pinnacle of the league season arrived at the Santiago Bernabéu in a 3-0 win over Real Madrid. It was Rijkaard's second victory at the Bernabéu, making him the first Barcelona manager to win there twice. Ronaldinho's performance was so impressive that after his second goal, which was Barcelona's third, some Real Madrid fans gave him a standing ovation. In the Champions League, Barcelona beat the English club Arsenal in the final. Trailing 1-0 to a 10-man Arsenal and with less than 15 minutes remaining, they came back to win 2-1, with substitute Henrik Larsson, in his final appearance for the club, setting up goals for Samuel Eto'o and fellow substitute Giuliano Belletti, for the club's first European Cup victory in 14 years. Despite being the favourites and starting strongly, Barcelona finished the 2006-07 season without trophies. A pre-season U.S. tour was later blamed for a string of injuries to key players, including leading scorer Eto'o and rising star Lionel Messi. There was open feuding as Eto'o publicly criticized coach Rijkaard and Ronaldinho. Ronaldinho also admitted that a lack of fitness affected his form. In La Liga, Barcelona were in first place for much of the season, but inconsistency in the new year saw Real Madrid overtake them to become champions. Barcelona advanced to the semi-finals of the Copa del Rey, winning the first leg against Getafe 5-2, with a goal from Messi bringing comparison to Diego Maradona's goal of the century, but then lost the second leg 4-0. They took part in the 2006 FIFA Club World Cup, but were beaten by a late goal in the final against Brazilian side Internacional. In the Champions League, Barcelona were knocked out of the competition in the last 16 by eventual runners-up Liverpool on away goals. Barcelona finished the 2007-08 season third in La Liga and reached the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League and Copa del Rey, both times losing to the eventual champions, Manchester United and Valencia, respectively. The day after a 4-1 defeat to Real Madrid, Joan Laporta announced that Barcelona B coach Pep Guardiola would take over Frank Rijkaard's duties on June 30, 2008. 2008-2012, Guardiola era. Barcelona B youth manager Pep Guardiola took over Frank Rijkaard's duties at the conclusion of the season. Guardiola brought with him the now famous tiki-taka style of play he had been taught during his time in the Barcelona youth teams. In the process, Guardiola sold Ronaldinho and Deco and started building the Barcelona team around Xavi, Andrés Iniesta, and Lionel Messi. Barça beat Athletic Bilbao 4-1 in the 2009 Copa del Rey final, winning the competition for a record-breaking 25th time. A historic 2-6 victory against Real Madrid followed 3 days later and ensured that Barcelona became 2008-09 La Liga champions. Barça finished the season by beating Manchester United 2-0 at the Stadio Olimpico in Rome, with goals from Eto'o and Messi, to win their third Champions League title, and complete the first ever treble won by a Spanish team. The team went on to win the 2009 Supercopa de España against Athletic Bilbao and the 2009 UEFA Super Cup against Shakhtar Donetsk, becoming the first European club to win both domestic and European Super Cups following a treble. In December 2009, Barcelona won the 2009 Club World Cup. Barcelona accomplished 2 new records in Spanish football in 2010 as they retained the La Liga trophy with 99 points and won the Supercopa de España for a 9th time. After Laporta's departure from the club in June 2010, Sandro Rosell was soon elected as the new president. The elections were held on June 13, where he got 61.35% of total votes. Rosell signed David Villa from Valencia for €40 million and Javier Mascherano from Liverpool for €19 million. At the 2010 World Cup in South Africa, Barcelona players that had graduated from the club's La Masia youth system would play a major role in Spain becoming world champions. On July 11, 7 players who came through the academy participated in the final, 6 of whom were Barcelona players who started the match, with Iniesta scoring the winning goal against the Netherlands. In November 2010, Barcelona defeated their main rival Real Madrid 5-0 in El Clásico. At the ceremony for the 2010 FIFA Ballon d'Or in December, Barcelona's La Masia became the first youth academy ever to have all 3 finalists for the Ballon d'Or, with Messi, Iniesta, and Xavi being named the 3 best players in the world for 2010. In the 2010-11 season, Barcelona retained the La Liga trophy, their 3rd title in succession, finishing with 96 points. In April 2011, the club reached the Copa del Rey final, losing 1-0 to Real Madrid at the Mestalla Stadium in Valencia. In May, Barcelona defeated Manchester United in the 2011 Champions League final 3-1 held at Wembley Stadium, a repeat of the 2009 final, winning their 4th European Cup. In August 2011, La Masia graduate Cesc Fabregas was bought from Arsenal and he would help Barcelona defend the Spanish Supercup against Real Madrid. The Supercup victory brought the total number of official trophies to 73, matching the number of titles won by Real Madrid. Later the same month, Barcelona won the UEFA Super Cup defeating Porto 2-0 with goals from Messi and Fabregas. This extended the club's overall number of official trophies to 74, surpassing Real Madrid's total amount of official trophies. The Super Cup victory also saw Guardiola win his 12th trophy out of a possible 15 in his 3 years at the helm of the club, becoming the all-time record holder of most titles won as a coach at Barcelona. In December, Barcelona won the Club World Cup for a record second time since its establishment, after defeating 2011 Copa Libertadores holders Santos 4-0 in the final thanks to 2 goals from Messi and goals from Xavi and Fabregas. As a result, the overall trophy haul during the reign of Guardiola was further extended and saw Barcelona win their 13th trophy out of a possible 16. Considered by some in the sport to be the greatest team of all time, with Manchester United manager Alex Ferguson stating, "They mesmerize you with their passing." Their 5 trophies in 2011 saw them receive the Laureus World Sports Award for Team of the Year. In the 2011-12 season, Barcelona lost the semi-finals of the Champions League against Chelsea. Guardiola, who had been on a rolling contract and had faced criticism over his recent tactics and squad selections, announced that he would step down as manager on June 30 and be succeeded by assistant Tito Vilanova. Guardiola finished his tenure with Barca winning the Copa del Rey final 3-0, bringing the tally to 14 trophies that Barca had won under his coaching. It was announced in summer of 2012 that Tito Vilanova, assistant manager at Barcelona, would take over from Pep Guardiola as manager. Following his appointment, Barcelona went on an incredible run that saw them hold the top spot on the league table for the entire season, recording only 2 losses and amassing 100 points. Their top scorer once again was Lionel Messi, who scored 46 goals in La Liga, including 2 hat-tricks. On May 11, 2013, Barcelona were crowned as the Spanish football champions for the 22nd time, still with 4 games left to play. Ultimately, Barcelona ended the season 15 points clear of rivals Real Madrid, despite losing 2-1 to them at the beginning of March. They reached the semi-final stage of both the Copa del Rey and the Champions League, going out to Real Madrid and Bayern Munich respectively. On July 19, it was announced that Vilanova was resigning as Barcelona manager because his throat cancer had returned, and he would be receiving treatment for the second time after a 3-month medical leave in December 2012. 2014-2020, Bartomeu era. On July 22, 2013, Gerardo Tata Martino was confirmed as manager of Barcelona for the 2013-14 season. Barcelona won the 2013 Supercopa de España 1-1 on away goals. On January 23, 2014, Sandro Rosell resigned as president by the admissibility of a complaint for alleged misappropriation following the transfer of Neymar. Josep Maria Bartomeu replaced him to finish the term. Barcelona won the treble in the 2014-15 season, winning La Liga, Copa del Rey and Champions League titles, and became the first European team to have won the treble twice. On May 17, the club clinched their 23rd La Liga title after defeating Atletico Madrid. This was Barcelona's 7th La Liga title in the last 10 years. On May 30, the club defeated Athletic Bilbao in the Copa del Rey final at Camp Nou. On June 6, Barcelona won the 2015 Champions League final with a 3-1 win against Juventus, which completed the treble, the club's second in 6 years. Barcelona's attacking trio of Messi, Suarez, and Neymar, dubbed MSN, scored 122 goals in all competitions, the most in a season for an attacking trio in Spanish football history. On August 11, Barcelona started the 2015-16 season winning a joint record 5th European Super Cup by beating Sevilla 5-4 in the 2015 UEFA Super Cup. They ended the year with a 3-0 win over Argentine club River Plate in the 2015 Club World Cup final on December 20 to win the trophy for a record 3rd time, with Suarez, Messi, and Iniesta the top 3 players of the tournament. The Club World Cup was Barcelona's 20th international title, a record only matched by Egyptian club Al Ahly. By scoring 180 goals in 2015 in all competitions, Barcelona set the record for most goals scored in a calendar year, breaking Real Madrid's record of 178 goals scored in 2014. On February 10, 2016, qualifying for the sixth Copa del Rey final in the last 8 seasons, Luis Enrique's Barcelona broke the club's record of 28 consecutive games unbeaten in all competitions set by Guardiola's team in the 2010-11 season, with a 1-1 draw with Valencia in the second leg of the 2015-16 Copa del Rey. With a 5-1 win at Rayo Vallecano on March 3, Barcelona's 35th match unbeaten, the club broke Real Madrid's Spanish record of 34 games unbeaten in all competitions from the 1988-1989 season. After Barca reached 39 matches unbeaten, their run ended on April 2, 2016 with a 2-1 defeat to Real Madrid at Camp Nou. On May 14, 2016, Barcelona won their sixth La Liga title in 8 seasons. The front three of Messi, Suarez, and Neymar finished the season with 131 goals, breaking the record they had set the previous year for most goals by an attacking trio in a single season. On March 8, 2017, Barcelona made the largest comeback in Champions League history in the 2016-17 UEFA Champions League round of 16 second leg, defeating Paris Saint-Germain 6-1. Despite losing the first leg in France by a score of 4-0. On May 29, 2017, former player Ernesto Valverde was named as Luis Enrique's successor. On September 20, 2017, Barcelona issued a statement exercising their stance on the 2017 Catalan referendum saying, FC Barcelona, in holding the utmost respect for its diverse body of members, will continue to support the will of the majority of Catalan people, and will do so in a civil, peaceful, and exemplary way. The match against UD Las Palmas on the referendum day was requested to be postponed by the Barcelona board due to heavy violence in Catalonia, but it was declined by La Liga, therefore being held behind closed doors. 2 directors, Jordi Mons and Carles Villarrubi, handed in their resignations in protest at the games being played. Winning La Liga for the 2017-18 season, on May 9, 2018, Barcelona defeated Villarreal 5-1 to set the longest unbeaten streak in La Liga history. On April 27, 2019, Barcelona won their 26th La Liga title. However, the La Liga title was overshadowed by an improbable Champions League exit to Liverpool in the semi-finals, with Barca losing the second leg 0-4 after being up 3-0 after a home victory. On January 13, 2020, following the loss to Atletico Madrid in the Spanish Supercup, former Real Betis coach Quique Setién replaced Ernesto Valverde as the new head coach of Barcelona. Ultimately, Barcelona finished the season trophyless for first time in 12 years. On August 17, the club confirmed that Setién had been removed from his position as manager, with director of football Eric Abidal also dismissed from his position. 2 days later, Ronald Koeman was appointed as the new head coach of Barcelona. Rising dissatisfaction among supporters due to worsening finances and decline on the pitch in the previous season led to Josep Maria Bartomeu announcing his resignation as president on October 27, 2020, to avoid facing a vote of no confidence from the club members. 2021 present, return of Laporta and post-Messi era. On March 7, 2021, Joan Laporta was elected president of Barcelona with 54.28% of the vote. Barcelona won their 31st Copa del Rey, their only trophy under Ronald Koeman, after defeating Athletic Bilbao 4-0 in the final. In August 2021, Barcelona found themselves unable to comply with La Liga's financial fair play requirements, and revealed a club debt of Euro 1.35 billion and a wage bill accounting for 103% of total income. Negotiations with Lionel Messi, now in the final year of his contract, had been ongoing for some time. However, on August 5, 2021, Barcelona announced that they would be unable to re-sign Messi to an extension due to La Liga regulations. This was despite the fact that the club and Messi had reached an agreement over the details of a new contract. Messi departed the club after 21 years as a Barca player, and the club's all-time leading goalscorer, and signed on a free transfer with French champions Paris Saint-Germain. The financial implications also restricted Barcelona in the transfer market, and as a result most of the incoming players were either free transfers or loans, and they had to reduce players' wages to register the incoming players. Poor performances in La Liga and the Champions League led to the sacking of Ronald Koeman on October 28, with the club legend Xavi replacing him. Xavi could not reverse the fortunes in the Champions League, and Barcelona dropped down to the Europa League for the first time since 2003-04, subsequently exiting in the quarter-finals. In the domestic league, Xavi improved Barca's form and guided them from 9th to 2nd, guaranteeing a Champions League spot next season. However, this also meant Barcelona finished trophyless after earlier Supercopa and Copa del Rey exits. Support. The nickname Culer for a Barcelona supporter is derived from the Catalan col, as the spectators at the first stadium, Camp de la Industria, sat with their cols over the stand. In Spain, about 25% of the population is said to be Barca sympathizers, second behind Real Madrid, supported by 32% of the population. Throughout Europe, Barcelona is the favorite second-choice club. The club's membership figures have seen a significant increase from 100,000 in the 2003-04 season to 170,000 in September 2009, the sharp rise being attributed to the influence of Ronaldinho and then-President Joan Laporta's media strategy that focused on Spanish and English online media. As of June 30, 2022, the club has 143,086 memberships, called socios. In addition to membership, as of March 2022 there are 1,264 officially registered fan clubs, called PNIs, around the world. The fan clubs promote Barcelona in their locality and receive beneficial offers when visiting Barcelona. Among the best supported teams globally, Barcelona has the second highest social media following in the world among sports teams, with over 103 million Facebook fans as of December 2021, only behind Real Madrid with 111 million. The club has had many prominent people among its supporters, including Pope John Paul II, who was an honorary member, and former Prime Minister of Spain José Luis Rodríguez Zapatero. Club rivalries. Il Clásico/I. None. Il Derby Barcelona/I. None. Rivalry with AC Milan. One of Barcelona's rivals in European football is Italian club AC Milan. The team against which Barcelona has played the most matches, it is also the second most played match in European competitions, tied with Real Madrid Juventus and both after Real Madrid Bayern Munich. Two of the most successful clubs in Europe, Milan has won 7 European Cups to Barca's 5, while both clubs have won a record 5 European Super Cups. Barcelona and Milan have won other continental titles, which make them the second and third most decorated teams in world football, with 20 and 18 titles respectively, both behind Real Madrid's 26. Barcelona leads the head-to-head record with 8 wins and 5 defeats. The first encounter between the two clubs was in the 1959-60 European Cup. They faced off in the round of 16 and Barca won the tie on a 7-1 aggregate score. While Milan had never knocked Barcelona out of the European Cup, they beat Johan Cruyff's Dream Team 4-0 in the 1994 Champions League final, despite being the underdogs. In 2013, however, Barcelona made a historic comeback from a 0-2 first-leg defeat in the round of 16 of the 2012-13 Champions League, winning 4-0 at the Camp Nou. Ownership and finances. Along with Real Madrid, Athletic Bilbao, and Osasuna, Barcelona is organized as a registered association. Unlike a limited company, it is not possible to purchase shares in the club, but only membership. The members of Barcelona, called Socios, form an assembly of delegates which is the highest governing body of the club. As of June 30, 2022, the club has 143,086 socios. In 2010, Forbes evaluated Barcelona's worth to be around €752 million, ranking them fourth after Manchester United, Real Madrid and Arsenal, based on figures from the 2008-09 season. According to Deloitte, Barcelona had a recorded revenue of €366 million in the same period, ranking second to Real Madrid, who generated €401 million in revenue. In 2013, Forbes magazine ranked Barcelona the third most valuable sports team in the world, behind Real Madrid and Manchester United, with a value of $2.6 billion. In 2014, Forbes ranked them the second most valuable sports team in the world, worth $3.2 billion, and Deloitte ranked them the world's fourth richest football club in terms of revenue, with an annual turnover of €484.6 million. In 2017, Forbes ranked them the fourth most valuable sports team in the world with a team value of $3.64 billion. In 2018, Barcelona became the first sports team to surpass $1 billion in annual revenues. In November 2018, Barcelona became the first sports team with average first-team pay in excess of £10 million per year. However, years of profligate spending under the leadership of Josep Maria Bartomeu and other factors, such as the COVID-19 pandemic, saw the club's gross debt rise to about $1.4 billion in 2021, much of it short-term. Records. In March 2021, Lionel Messi overtook Xavi's record of 767 games played for the club, and presently has made 778 official appearances in all competitions, while also holding the record for the most appearances in La Liga matches for Barcelona, with 520. Barcelona's all-time highest goal scorer in official competitions is Lionel Messi with 672 goals, surpassing Paulino Alcantara's 369 goals in March 2014, a record which stood for 87 years. In December 2020, Messi also overtook Pelé's 643 goals for Santos to become the highest official scorer for a single club. Messi is the record goal scorer for Barcelona in European and international club competitions, and the record league scorer with 474 goals in La Liga. Four other players have managed to score over 100 league goals for Barcelona: César Rodriguez, Luis Suarez, Laszlo Kubala and Samuel Eto'o. Josep Samitier is the club's highest goal scorer in the Copa del Rey, with 64 goals. Laszlo Kubala holds the La Liga record for most goals scored in one match, with 7 goals against Sporting Gijón in 1952. Lionel Messi CO holds the Champions League record with 5 goals against Bayer Leverkusen in 2012. Julio Martinez became Barca's top goal scorer in a cup game, when he scored 7 goals against Atletico Madrid in 1957. Barcelona goalkeepers have won a record number of Zamora trophies, with Antoni Ramírez and Victor Valdés winning a record 5 each. Valdés had a ratio of 0.832 goals conceded per game, a La Liga record, and he also holds the record for longest period without conceding a goal in all competitions for Barcelona. Claudio Bravo has the record of best unbeaten start in a season in La Liga history, at 754 minutes. Barcelona's longest-serving manager is Jack Greenwell, with 9 years in 2 spells, and Pep Guardiola is the club's most successful manager. The most successful Barcelona player is Lionel Messi with 35 trophies, surpassing Andrés Iniesta, with 32 trophies. Barcelona's Camp Nou is the largest stadium in Europe. The club's highest home attendance was 120,000 in a European Cup quarter-final against Juventus on March 3, 1986. The modernization of Camp Nou during the 1990s and the introduction of all-seater stands means the record will not be broken for the foreseeable future, as the current capacity of the stadium is 99,354. El Barça de les Sincopes is the first team in Spanish football to have won 5 trophies in a single season. Barcelona is the only club to have played in every season of European competitions since they started in 1955, counting non-UEFA competition Intercities Fairs Cup. On December 18, 2009, alongside being the only Spanish club to achieve a continental treble, Barcelona became the first ever European football team to win 6 trophies in a calendar year. In January 2018, Barcelona signed Philippe Coutinho from Liverpool for €120 million, the highest transfer fee in club's history. In August 2017, Barcelona player Neymar transferred to Paris Saint-Germain for a world record transfer fee of €222 million. In 2016, Barcelona's La Masia was ranked second by the International Center for Sports Studies as the most top-level players producing academy in the world. Kits and crest. The club's original crest was a quartered diamond-shaped crest topped by the crown of Aragon and the bat of King James, and surrounded by 2 branches, one of a laurel tree and the other a palm. The club shared Barcelona's coat of arms, as a demonstration of its identification with the city and a desire to be recognized as one. In 1910, the club held a competition among its members to design a new crest. The winner was Carles Comamela, who at the time played for the club. Comamela's suggestion became the crest that the club wears today, with some minor variations. The crest consists of the St. George cross in the upper left corner with the Catalan flag beside it, and the team colours at the bottom. The blue and garnet colours of the shirt were first worn in a match against Hispania in 1900. Several competing theories have been put forth for the blue and garnet design of the Barcelona shirt. The son of the first president, Arthur Whitty, claimed it was the idea of his father, as the colours were the same as the merchant tailors' school team. Another explanation, according to author Tony Strubel, is that the colours are from Robespierre's First Republic. In Catalonia, the common perception is that the colours were chosen by Joan Gamper and are those of his home team, FC Basel. Since 1998, the club has had a kit deal with Nike. In 2016, the deal was renewed until 2028 for a record €155 million per year. The contract includes a clause sanctioning penalty or agreement termination anytime if Barcelona fail to qualify for the European competitions or is relegated from La Liga. Notes: Kit suppliers and shirt sponsors. Stadium. Barcelona initially played in the Camp de la Industria. The capacity was about 6,000, and club officials deemed the facilities inadequate for a club with growing membership. In 1922, the number of supporters had surpassed 20,000, and by lending money to the club, Barca was able to build the larger Camp de les Corts, which had an initial capacity of 20,000 spectators. After the Spanish Civil War, the club started attracting more members and a larger number of spectators at matches. This led to several expansion projects: the grandstand in 1944, the southern stand in 1946, and finally the northern stand in 1950. After the last expansion, Les Courts could hold 60,000 spectators. After the construction was complete, there was no further room for expansion at Les Courts. Back-to-back La Liga titles in 1948 and 1949 and the signing of Laszlo Kubala in June 1950, who would later go on to score 196 goals in 256 matches, drew larger crowds to the games. The club began to make plans for a new stadium. The building of Camp Nou commenced on March 28, 1954, before a crowd of 60,000 Barca fans. The first stone of the future stadium was laid in place under the auspices of Governor Felipe Acido Colunga and with the blessing of Archbishop of Barcelona Gregorio Modrego. Construction took 3 years and ended on September 24, 1957 with a final cost of 288 million pesetas, 336% over budget. In 1980, when the stadium was in need of redesign to meet UEFA criteria, the club raised money by offering supporters the opportunity to inscribe their name on the bricks for a small fee. The idea was popular with supporters, and thousands of people paid the fee. Later this became the center of controversy when media in Madrid picked up reports that one of the stones was inscribed with the name of longtime Real Madrid chairman and Franco supporter Santiago Bernabeu. In preparation for the 1992 Summer Olympics, 2 tiers of seating were installed above the previous roofline. It has a current capacity of 99,354, making it the largest stadium in Europe. In December 2021, a record 88% of the club members voted in favor of the Espai Barca project to revamp the club's sporting facilities, being the first online referendum in FC Barcelona history. Originally projected to have been completed in 2021, it is now aimed to finish by the end of 2025, with an estimated €1.5 billion net funding. There are also other facilities, which include Ciutat Esportiva Joan Gamper, Masia Centre de Formació Oriol Tort, Estadi Johan Cruyff, Palau Blaugrana, Palau Blaugrana II, Palau de Gel. Honors. Shared record. In 2015, Barcelona received the 9 Values Cup, an award of the International Children's Social Program Football for Friendship. Players. Spanish teams are limited to 3 players without EU citizenship. The squad list includes only the principal nationality of each player. Several non-European players on the squad have dual citizenship with an EU country. Also, players from the ACP countries that are signatories to the Cotonou Agreement are not counted against non-EU quotas due to the Colpack ruling. Current squad. As of November 5, 2022 NOTE, flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Reserve team and youth academy. Note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Out on loan. Note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Personnel. Current technical staff. Football sport management. Management. Board of Directors. Filmography.